Kitty Genovese. Some of you may know that name, but most of you have probably never heard of her. Kitty was born on July 7th, 1935, to Italian-American parents. Along with 4 other siblings, her family lived in a 4-family row house in an Irish and Italian working-class neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. From an early age, Kitty was known for her energy and zest for life. The reason I bring all this up is because of what happened to Kitty when she was just 28 years old. On March 13th, 1964, it was a cold night, and Kitty was excited to get home after work. At around 3 a.m., she parked her car by the rail station and began walking to her nearby apartment. Little did she know, Winston Moseley was on the prowl. As she walked to her apartment, she heard footsteps. Startled, she began to run, but Moseley quickly caught up to her. He stabbed her, and she cried out, "Oh God, I've been stabbed." One neighbor saw the struggle and called down, "Leave that girl alone." Moseley was scared off to his car. After a few minutes, Moseley had not yet heard any police sirens, and he was determined to finish what he had started. He got back out of his car, and he walked back over to Kitty and stabbed her again, this time fatally. At nearly 4 a.m., more than 30 minutes after the initial attack, a neighbor finally phoned the police, and within minutes, there was an officer on scene, but it was already too late for Kitty. There is speculation about this case that 38 perfectly respectable, able-bodied citizens heard the cries of Kitty Genovese, yet not one did a single thing, not until it was too late. The main idea of my talk today is this idea of bystander apathy. Bystander apathy is a social phenomenon in which individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when there are other people present. Kitty Genovese's case is a popular example of this, but what does this look like in our everyday lives here at York College? Maybe it's here in chapel. You keep seeing the same person every day, sitting up in the bleachers by themselves, waiting for everyone to leave. Or you see them get up immediately and walk out, trying to avoid any interaction with anybody. Maybe it's in the cafeteria, someone sitting in a booth eating by themselves. We may see someone every day who looks like they're just having the worst day possible. But all we ever do is just say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And we just leave it at that. We don't try to help. Why? One reason I think we do this is because we may feel that we are inadequate to help in this situation. Oh, this is a Christian school. There are plenty of other Christians around who will help and see if they're okay. I don't think I have the right words to say to that person. Maybe we feel like we don't have enough time to help. You know, I have class in 15 minutes. I haven't even gotten my morning coffee yet. And I have to be there early to get a good seat. Or we think someone else might be a better fit to help. There's a teacher right there. Surely they see that person in need. They have more wisdom than me anyway. Colossians 4:5 says, "Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity." But how do we do that? We do it by letting Jesus use us in every single situation that we encounter. In an excerpt from Mark 6, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest," Jesus said. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus answered, "You give them something to eat." They said back, That would take more than half a year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? And you all know the end of the story. It's the story of the 5,000. Jesus works a miracle, and he feeds 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and only 2 fish. But the apostles in this story fell victim to bystander apathy. They saw people who were hungry, yet they wanted to send them away to a nearby town to get something else to eat. I think one of the biggest problems in the church today is that we keep sending people away and have someone else help them instead of dealing with the problem ourselves. We get eager to send people away, and we do not realize that God has a plan, and we are a part of it. It's not a coincidence that you keep seeing the same person every day. It's not a coincidence that you keep thinking the same thoughts every day. God is putting you in those situations for a reason. But because we think we all go to a Christian school, someone else more qualified will help that person. A teacher will come and sit with that person, eat with that person, or pray with that person. Why not us? Why not you? And why not me? Imagine getting off an airplane. Imagine if a man was choking and no one stopped to see if he was okay. Passengers are thinking, maybe flight attendants will help him. Maybe the pilot. Or maybe there's a doctor on board who will see and help him. You think I'm crazy. People think that there's no way that they would ever let this happen. But things like this do happen every single day, even in the littlest of ways. In a few minutes, we're all going to be getting up to leave. And it's going to be kind of like getting off an airplane. It'll be crowded. And what if you see someone in need? They may not be coughing vigorously or choking or doing something else that's obvious. But they may just look like everything is not quite okay. And we all know what that looks like because we've all been there. We've all been down or depressed or have gotten bad news in our life. We know what it looks like when someone is in need. But we think, oh, we have teachers that'll see if she's okay. We have Sam Gardner, our spiritual life director. He'll come up and talk to that guy. If you don't get anything else out of today, I want you to get this. The problem with bystander apathy is that if there's just one person who we know that is struggling in this room, and all of us think to ourselves, someone else will help. Who is left to help? No one. To overcome bystander apathy, you must win a mental war between 2 opposing thoughts when you see someone in need. The first thought is, I ought to help. The second thought is, I ought to do what everyone else is doing. One of these thoughts is going to prevail and dictate what you do. Which one is it going to be? In John 13, in the words of Jesus, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you just love one another. Let's activate ourselves this week. Let's go out and be the people Jesus called us to be, and stop being bystanders. Thank you.